Welcome everybody to yet another Join Dota League Season number 5 Division 1 and 2 playoff game. This time around it is the lower bracket between ICE and MVP.HOT6. ICE, well, they were looking pretty damn strong in the group stage, but kind of failed to impress in the playoff in the, well, first round of it at least. MVP, they had a really tough matchup against 5 Eva. They were kind of throwing both games and still lost 2-0 in the end as well. So, coming into this, hard to say who's gonna win, but at least everybody is connected now and we should get into the draft. And of course, we're HeflaTV, I'm Couchor, and I'm going to be joined by Mikelorus, who also connects in. Are you here properly?
Yeah, I am. Must have been like in some phantom game with someone else who also didn't connect, but we're here now, and that is what matters. Doesn't look like these two teams, at least in their current incarnations, have gone up against each other in any official tournament games. Maybe scrims or something like that, but yeah, more or less a blank slate. So we'll see what these guys have for us today.
Yeah, Team Ice is more or less a complete newcomer. The first time I saw them was in this Division 2, whereas MVP.HOT6, yes, they are also playing for the Division 1 and 2 playoffs, but other than that, they are participating in quite a bit of like Tier 1 tournaments in the Southeast Asian scene. So them being just up against each other in the tournament setting isn't likely to happen because of that one. But banning out here already heroes that you maybe don't see as often. Gen banned by Team Ice, for example. I mean, it must be team specific. I mean, it's like Gen is banned, for example, against IG at the moment as well. But I myself personally haven't seen too much Gen coming out of HOT6.
Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of how the hero works. I just don't think that the early game pressure is really what you need to be doing, and having a hero that is a support hero that doesn't offer any innate disabling, like someone like a Lion or a Vengeful Spirit would, and is very much so not going to be camping the lane is, I mean, it's fine sometimes. Like, you could see teams get away with Enigma pickups, but I feel like Enigma offers a little bit more utility than the Chen. That's just me, however. Chen is a very powerful hero. If you can build your strategy to include the Chen, you can't just throw a Chen into a strategy. It doesn't quite work like that. So it is going to be banned out regardless. Troll also hitting the ban pool, and, well, I mean, Sniper, Shadow Fiend, Axe, Troll, they're all maybe going to be banned out, but maybe Ice just really don't want to deal with junglers. That's also, I guess, a way to go.
Yeah, that's an approach you really don't see at all, almost, I'd have to say, but I mean, Enigma definitely can also be strong. It is kind of easy to just go in, block a few camps, and slow Enigma down considerably. Or if not slow the Enigma down, at least make it so that he also has to farm up the pull camp, which means the other support will not be getting as much farm or XP, something like that, but man, they really must hate them junglers. Whereas MVP, Troll, Bristleback, kind of standard, maybe Bristleback also not as much, but Team Ice, they do start with a Vengeful Spirit, it's not all that surprising.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day when people will be like, oh, let's start Lion instead of Vengeful Spirit. I don't know if that's going to happen just because Swap is such a unique tool, and I mean, offensive, defensive, also pretty much bans out Batrider as well. It's a little bit too powerful in the first pick, and that's why we see the first pick Vengeful Spirit all the freaking time. But man, if you could cover so many bases with one hero, then why not pick that? MVP, though, they're going to grab a pretty solid combination themselves. Juggernaut Witch Doctor not only is a nice little combo for getting kills in lane, the sustain coming out of both these heroes is pretty high and would have been pretty sick with a Chen.
That is true enough indeed. So, if you're Team Ice, do you like immediately think about an Ancient Apparition now, or do you leave it for later on in the draft? Or, well, do you even want to go for it at all?
I mean, the regen and sustain of MVP is not really like bursty regen. Like, Healing Ward can get to that stage, but in a fight you should be focusing that down. The Voodoo Restoration is more of a slow regeneration, so for Ice, though having the anti-regeneration would certainly be nice from the Ancient Apparition ultimate, it's not really like they're going up against a Slark, or it's not really like they're going up against an Omni-Knight or something like that. So they can afford to sit on that for a little while. Instead, they're going to choose to pick up the Queen of Pain, and I think that's a good decision. If they really, really want to get Ancient Apparition, Ice, they could get it later, or they'll force MVP to ban it out right now, and essentially MVP will waste one of their bans.
Yeah, now, with the Queen of Pain being on the table for Ice, of course, most Queen of Pains, depending on the timing of it, depending on how much farm you can get, want to go for an Orchid early on. Would be exceptionally good against the Juggernaut until the point that the Jugger, of course, gets himself a Manta style. But even then, you won't guaranteed have a Manta style ready all the time when you get Orchided, for example. mean, it's really probably one of the easiest ways to deal with a Juggernaut. Just get a silence or a really long stun just duration somehow on the Juggernaut. Otherwise, Blade Fury, just Omni Slash there as well. So hard to really pin him down. So Queen of Pain definitely nice for that. And even if you are in the Blade Fury, Sonic Wave also goes through. But next set of bans, Bat rather banned out even the Ice. Yes, they have the counter at the Vengeful Spirit. It's not like it's a guaranteed thing, so just better remove the Bat completely. And all the other offlaners, I mean, Tidehunter is still a massive amount of lockdown, although it just isn't played that much. But if it's like a Clockwork, for example, Queen of Pain doesn't really struggle all that much. For example, you just blink out of the cogs easily.
Yeah, it could sometimes be problematic if the enemy team is running like Lion and Clockwork, but if a Witch Doctor stuns after Clockwork hook shots, yeah, your Queen of Pain is probably going to be tanky enough to get out of that. Maybe not if there's a Beastmaster roar into a Death Ward. That's a little bit too much for really anyone. So MVP, they do get their offlane hero, and the pool wasn't really that deep to begin with. He said a lot of the heroes having been banned out, and Beastmaster is actually a pretty good hero to, first of all, have versus Queen of Pain, but again, working with Juggernaut, getting that vision for Omni Slashing if you're on the hunt, or just getting that additional attack speed, that's a lot of effectiveness out of this hero.
So I'm not entirely sure, but I would like to say that MVP also ran a Tinker up against 5 Eva, especially having the Beastmaster. Maybe it was banned, maybe I'm just making things up, but Tinker is a hero that definitely does synergize with the Beastmaster, just being able to teleport to the Hawk or Boar, whichever one you want to. Of course, running a Tinker is kind of a risky thing to do these days, just because you don't get as guaranteed of a farm. You can't farm up Ancients, for example, anymore. But even then, can be a strong hero if they want to go for it. Team Ice though, tanking things up, Viper the pickup for them. Definitely a pretty decent frontliner, somebody to also build a mech for their team to just counteract some of the burst that MVP has going for them.
Yeah, as you said, nice little front line here for the Team Ice side. They are looking right now at going up against two melee cores of MVP, Beastmaster, Juggernaut, though Beastmaster isn't always going to be right on the front lines and wanting to be hitting everyone all the time. It's still something that they have to consider, and they should be considering if MVP do grab another melee hero, even if it is just a melee support like a Sand King or something like that. Something like a Phoenix could get really ridiculous for Ice, and together with the Queen of Pain, they'll have so many ways of punishing these melee heroes from MVP. In lane already, they have pretty nice lane dominance. Like, their kill potential is huge. In any lane the Vengeful Spirit goes towards, Viper, Queen of Pain definitely hold their own pretty much in whatever lane they go towards. So yeah, I'm really liking where Ice are positioning their draft. Whereas for MVP, when you have a Beastmaster, you kind of have to play things a little bit more aggressively. You can't really afford to sit back on the hero, or else later on, he just doesn't do that much.
Yeah, it's also really the fact that if this is going to be a Beastmaster offlane, he might not get those early levels even to start helping out with the primal role, like really from the start almost. If that should be the case, it's just going to be bad times all around for HOT6 quite possibly. Then again, it is most likely going to be the offlane Beastmaster, right? I mean, some teams do run it as a support, some particular players, but in most cases it should be offlane.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be correct. Like, you can run it in the jungle, kind of like pulling the camps and just being a melee support. And that works, but it's not something that you should be drafting the Beastmaster for. It's something that you should be like turning your draft into once you realize that the offline Beastmaster just isn't going to work. And so far, it may or may not be the case right now. In fact, it's looking pretty bad for the offlane Beastmaster. Though, to be fair, anyone going towards the offlane, going up against potentially Viper, Vengeful Spirit, not fun. Templar Assassin is actually going to be the pick for MVP. Though Shadow Strike is pretty good versus the Shield Templar Assassin, as is the Viper's poison damage, TA typically fares pretty well against the Queen of Pain just because everything that the Queen of Pain has, most of the things the Queen of Pain has, can be dodged by melding.
Yeah, that's like one thing that most teams do, at least these days. They send out a sentry with the Queen of Pain into the mid lane immediately, just to get those early Shadow Strikes, get at least a slight advantage early on before Templar Assassin gets too many points into either the meld or refraction, or both of course. So we'll see if Team Ice are ready for that, or how they want to lane this, whether it's up against the Queen of Pain or the Viper there. With Team Ice, if they really want to, they can even leave the Queen of Pain for the off lane, for example, for now. But Silencer will be the pick. I'd expect that to be a support one. I think Team Ice have been running it beforehand as well, so kind of familiar with that hero, but Silencer is always like 50-50. Either it works out or doesn't do anything in the fight or in the just game in general.
especially when you're going up against a Templar Assassin and a Juggernaut. The Templar Assassin really doesn't care about your silences. Juggernaut may care in some situations, but more likely than not, if Silencer gets anywhere near anything resembling the front line, then Templar Assassin Juggernaut are going to put Silencer in a body bag in probably like 2 or 3 hits each. Maybe even less than that, like 1 hit from TA and 2 hits from the Juggernaut. That seems pretty realistic for a Silencer. It's nice having that global silence. As soon as you hear a roar, you pop the global silence, and most of the time, you're going to keep your allies alive. Death Ward, if you could cancel that one, that would be pretty nice for Ice, but usually we see Silencer as a response to a lot more mobility heroes, like if they were going up against a Queen of Pain Team Ice, or a Storm Spirit, or an Enigma. Like, all these heroes get pretty hard shut down by the Silencer, but MVP, most of their heroes can shrug the global silence off.
It's really not the most optimal position to pick the silencer into, to be honest, but maybe they are expecting one of those mobile heroes, but that would mean Beastmaster is going to be in the support, so it's hard to say. And you mentioned the Storm Spirit. I find it kind of weird that it hasn't even been touched so far, hasn't been banned nor picked. It is definitely kind of the flavor of the month hero, and it is Team Ice in the end banning out the Ancient Apparition themselves.
I mean, with the Templar Assassin pickup and the Beastmaster pickup, the vision on the map for MVP is going to be pretty insane. And right now, they don't really have any heroes that can abuse that. Storm Spirit would have been a pretty good hero at, seeing a target with a random trap or something. You pop that trap, you jump in. Storm Spirit could tear Silencer, Vengeful Spirit, even Queen of Pain to shreds very easily. Ancient Apparition would have been able to help with that. I'm not really sure how great it would have been up against Team Ice as far as the anti-heal is concerned. And they do have, again, quite a few low-range heroes, so Chilling Touch, not really the best for MVP. Not convinced about this Ancient Apparition ban. Though the Axe one, I think, is a little bit more understandable. If Ice needed off lane, you probably don't have to look much further than Axe ever.
Yeah, probably not, and Axe is definitely a momentum-based hero. For example, if Team Ice go for another one now, let's say a Tidehunter, that ultimate is just so long that you may not even be able to set up proper kills with it. And although Tidehunter Double Ravage is going to be great throughout the game, up against a just built-in Blade Fury of the Juggernaut, which is magic immunity, it's not all that awesome. Plus, Team Ice may even lack damage in the late game phases, to be honest. So
Queen of Pain Viper can do that damage, but Ember Spirit will probably do it more. There we go.
Ember Spirit definitely great against Temper Assassin as well, with that Flame Guard to remove the refractions almost immediately. Also, you are quite mobile, so unless you get like Primal Roar, you should be able to dodge a Light Strike Array or Paralyzing Cask or something like that with just a Remnant out. It does of course now mean that Queen of Pain will be going towards the offlane, or can it be an aggressive tri-lane of sorts with like Silencer, Viper, Vengeful, and leaving Queen of Pain safe lane up against Beastmaster?
Yeah, that's a possibility. If you look at MVP's lineup, most likely it's going to be Jug, Witch Doctor, Lina in a defensive tri-lane if it is at all. That is a very dangerous tri-lane. No one's going to say that, but no one's going to say it's not, but it's primarily magic damage. Like, Juggernaut's physical really doesn't come up until a little bit later, and you really want to have Viper going up against that. Just so your Corrosive Skin lets you sit in the front lines and actually take hits. And Silencer, Vengeful Spirit, both ranged heroes, will be able to get a lot of damage into the Juggernaut for free a lot of the time. So that is a possibility for Ice. It's a risky one, though, just because a single stun into a Light Strike Array into a spin, you could have as many points of Corrosive Skin as you want. You're still going to take a beating.
So the players on MVP, they need a reconnect. Hopefully it was just a reconnect that they suddenly don't need a remake or something, but they...
Yeah, man. I don't want to have another one of those, like, 10-year pauses.
And then you better stop casting Dota. That's the only way you're gonna avoid those. Oh wow, MVP, 4 people disconnected all of a sudden. So I guess they're going to reconnect now. Ice at least have managed to get all of the players just pick up their heroes, so that's a positive. And since supposedly it's only a reconnect, which Doctor already on his way back, it may not even take all that long. Maybe it's like VPN issues for them or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's not going to be a huge issue. At least they actually said something. Or again, good job MVP, super professional and stuff like that. But we got the Ember Spirit as the last pick for Ice, and as you said before, it's gonna mostly shore up their late game lack of damage, and assuming the Ember Spirit gets any sort of farm, and it looks like he does have a nice shell in which to operate. Ember Spirit, Queen of Pain, both working under cover of Global Silence. That's really hard for MVP to deal with. They will need to get like BKBs on. I mean, they're gonna want BKBs on everyone, really, just to get rid of that silence and so they could throw a roar onto one of those heroes.
Yeah, if you're forever on a Juggernaut or just Temper Assassin, you will most likely go for the Manta style, get rid of the Global Silence, that way it's just way easier, plus you benefit more from that item, so or possibly. If you go for a BKB, Viper Strike, for example, still goes through it and whatnot. The thing is, the Ember Spirit, yes, may dish out a lot of damage, but the amount of physical damage coming off from MVP might even be enough to kill the Ember Spirit off really fast. But as the teams are just moving out to introduce the lineups fast, for the side of Ice, B-Boy will be handling the Vengeful Spirit, leading the charge for them. Justin is gonna be on the Ember Spirit with JJT on the Queen of Pain, leaving Clement on the Silencer, and the last one is going to be the stand-in Engzui on the Viper.
And they're all going to be moving up towards the north. They're going to run into Jerax's Lina, and Lina definitely knows that you don't want to pick a fight up against Ice right now, so they'll probably play it cautiously. Heen is going to be supporting as the Witch Doctor. Most likely they're both going to be supporting Forev's Juggernaut, currently in the mid lane. MP is going to be on the Templar Assassin mid, and Sunbi is on the Beastmaster. Top lane looks like it definitely is going to be this offensive tri-lane for Ice. First of all 3 of the heroes are here. Second of all, you don't really place this Observe Ward to block the pull camp if you're not planning something a little bit more aggressive. But well, they're leaving right now just to secure the rune, but this is going to be probably a bloodbath lane up on the top lane.
Yeah, it most certainly should be, and it doesn't really help MVP that they don't have any sentries either to just get rid of that ward there. It wouldn't be even too hard, you just place the sentry where you almost always do, just between the trees up here. It definitely has enough range to cover this Observe Ward at least, but they just don't have the Goldion. Forever could buy sentries if he wanted to, but letting a Juggernaut do that is kind of painful. Heen, of course, also saving up a little bit of gold, so can bring them out if they really find out that it is blocked. Jerax even starting with boots on the Lina, so that's somewhat nice, but in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation, those boots may not matter anything.
Yeah, she will have to use that to keep on the edge of range. Once she gets caught, then those boots are pretty much going to be completely nullified, but they do have a pretty nice observer ward, so they will see absolutely everything pretty much all the time. So Ice, they can't really operate under any sort of guise of secrecy, but still they have 3 range heroes, and MVP working with this Juggernaut is, going to struggle in this lane. Maybe not a huge amount, since the burst power of MVP right now, their ability to pull a trigger and pull it really hard and start a fight is something that they can't underestimate, Ice. But until that happens, Ensui is going to be just happily farming it up as the Viper. Getting up to level 3, something like that, can swing the lane very quickly just because of those 2 points in Corrosive Skin.
Corrosive Skin, so damn annoying. At least MVP, if you will have to have a melee hero as the farmer, Juggernaut may be one of the better ones here. If you're fast enough, you can definitely dodge the magic missile stun. You can get rid of that last word as well quite easily. So it's not that easy for Ice to really go in aggressive and get those kills, but like I said, just farming for the Viper should be easy enough for now. Mid lane, also so far kind of even. Temper Assassin does have more denies, and Justin, well, he's struggling a little bit, but Temper Assassin, if you play in a way that you don't rely too much on the refraction, which is what you should be doing when you're up against an Ember Spirit, maybe even just max out meld, or that's what some Temper Assassins do. It's kind of hard to be Ember Spirit because of the Psy Blades and those meld hits coming in.
We gotta remember that even though the Ember Spirit's shields and the chains get rid of the defensive charges of the refraction very quickly, after that happens, the Templar Assassin is a pure physical based hero, and Justin has a magic shield. That's obviously not going to do that much for him. So MP, though he is going to take a little bit of pressure sometimes by getting flame guarded, getting chained to the floor, he could easily turn around and use these offensive refraction charges to destroy this Ember Spirit. And if Ember Spirit's not at full or near full health, then MP is probably going to come out with a win most of the time, especially if he gets, man, level 2 Psy Blades. He is looking to space this Ember Spirit out, and I've just been watching this mid lane for quite a long time. Justin has taken quite a few spill hits, and I mean, it's first of all a good play by MP. Second of all, Justin just has to watch his positioning. Like, look at that, he got destroyed in 4 hits by all spill damage.
Psy Blades, they're so good if you know how to handle them as well. Looks like MP spot on with those. He's always angling himself so that he can get that extra harassment to Justin, and Ember Spirit, he really has to focus more on just trying to dance around, avoid those, rather than just get his own last hits going for himself. With the help of that MP, suddenly he is doubling the last hits of the Ember Spirit, and I don't even know how the correct word is, but he has 12 times the denies of Ember Spirit.
Well, that's impressive, I guess, when you say it like that, man. But Ember Spirit only has one deny. Jeez, you can't really go in for denies when you're worrying about dancing around and avoiding Psyblade damage. And unfortunately for Justin, he needs to be getting in there because he needs his bottle. Like, he needs that extra bit of health regen. He just got himself a salve from the courier, which is nice just so that he could not die. But every single item you buy before that bottle is going to delay that bottle just a little bit more. Whereas MP, working with it, has been working with it for quite a while and is going to get a rune spawn as well. So this lane is 100% in the hands of the Templar Assassin. Problem really for MVP is that the other lanes are really just slipping. The bottom lane, Queen of Pain, is manhandling the Beastmaster, and top lane, this Viper is still under no pressure, although that might change. Cask, stun number 1, plus the Maledict, LSA, a little bit late though from Jerax. Did he get body blocked by Heen? That's the only way I could see that working out like that.
He probably overestimated the range of the Light Strike Array and underestimated the cast time of it, quite possibly, because it was really off target. In all fairness, he should have started with the Light Strike Array and then go for the Dragon Slave, but for some reason he decided to do it the other way around. But top lane, now that the initiation didn't get anything for them, they can put some harasses. Oh, mid lane, Justin with B-Boy, they get the first blood. Goddamn! But
it was a close one, man. Searing Chains messed up with the Templar Assassin just a little bit, and she had a double damage rune, so that was a very delicate race. Justin, if he took one more hit there, would have gone down, but it's pretty much just an easy wrap around from B-Boy, and that's something that MVP should have probably been aware of, but I guess they just didn't see the Vengeful Spear for a little while, and having the Venge with Boots, she'd get to the mid lane pretty quickly.
Boots and supports are always, well, should always be kind of the first priority. Sometimes Magic Stick can be better if you're really in a Trident versus Trident situation with spammy heroes, but oh, top lane, Viper might be in trouble. Blade Fury, Maledicted up as well, don't think there's any escape, just gonna stand his ground. Forever. Is it tanky enough? Sure, looks like it with that Stout Shield. Now a nice Light Strike Raid stops B-Boy. They just get 2 easy kills. Forever, he's gonna tick down at least, so Clement. Not only does he get the kill, he also gets the +2 intelligence stolen away from him, but Clement himself, he's kind of boxed in, and MP does have the Psionic Traps coming off cooldown, so Clement, there's just no escape from this.
Yeah, if they could give MP the kill, that would be pretty sweet for MVP, and it looks like they will do just that. So it's nice getting that additional bit of silencer intelligence, especially taking it away from the Juggernaut, who typically does tend to be a mana-hungry hero. Like, he doesn't even have enough mana for his 2 skills that he has right now, and if you could deny him more and more, that may or may not be a factor later on, but that was still a very expensive series of kills for Ice. Their entire tri-lane gets wiped, and still MVP's tri-lane gets to live, and these supports are going to be pretty happy because of it. Over towards mid, however, MVP getting hit with another Magic Missile, chained to the deck as well. Gem is going to go up instead of right towards MP. That's going to mean that the Templar Assassin lives. Justin with a slight misplay. Got to keep track of where your remnants are. But Templar Assassin going to live, but up towards top lane still MVP. They're going to be really happy with the experience that they got on these 2 support heroes. Jerax level 4, as well as Witch Doctor pretty much level 4. That's going to put them at a really significant edge.
And just that remnant, I was so sure Templar Assassin is going to just die from that remnant bomb, but suddenly just Ember Spirit goes on a round trip around the world or something. In the meantime, also bottom lane, Queen of Pain is going on the aggressive, and Blink, Scream of Pain, Sonic Wave, Beastmaster, dead, no chance at all. GGT, I mean, he's been kind of dominating the lane as you would expect anyway. 38 last hits to the Beastmaster's 8. So Templar Assassin is still really the only one who's having a good time, and even she is struggling somewhat due to the rotations of Ice.
Yeah, so this is looking pretty good for Ice. They have the top lane, even after dying, more or less on lockdown as far as farm is concerned. Viper almost doubling up that of the Juggernaut. And of course the Queen of Pain, as you said, is crushing the Beastmaster. There's nothing a Beastmaster can really do about this. He does have the additional points in the summons. I'm not actually sure if this is the build that you want to be going for if you're laning up against the Queen of Pain. Axes and or Inner Beast seems a lot better here than your summons, honestly. Like, having the boar is nice, but honestly, what is a boar gonna do up against Templar Assassin, up against a Queen of Pain? She'll just blink away from it or kill it in a random sonic wave or something like that. What the Beastmaster has been doing, though, has been stacking up Ancients. He's got quite a nice stack that Templar Assassin is going to clear off. So MVP, they're putting a lot of funds into MP. Will it matter, though? Because this is only one hero, and this is a hero that can very easily be burst down.
If Beastmaster had just arrived to the ruin like a second, maybe 2 seconds earlier, gotten the Primal Roar off, I think they would have had enough physical damage to get the kill on Queen of Pain. But if doesn't really help you at all, and now MP himself didn't get the bolt recharge, but he's gonna be able to clean up those engines anyway. So a triple stack worth of gold. Not only that, also jerax has been just staying in the mid lane during it. I find it a little bit weird that jerax hasn't just gotten punished by it. If you're chesting, you can just remnant in, especially now with the double damage. Go in, searing chains, flame guard, and there's really nothing Elena can do.
Yeah, she could throw an LSA, but you could even potentially dodge that if you're quick on your fingers with those spirits. Lina is going to get a little bit of experience from that, and she's closing in onto her Laguna Blade. B-Boy, though, is still camping out in the mid lane area. He might run into jerax right now, but he definitely wants to make the Templar Assassin's life difficult. And hey, look at that, Templar Assassin is coming in. Unfortunately, B-Boy is on his way out, so a little bit of rough timing there for this Vengeful Spirit, but still, they have recovered their Ember Spirit by quite a nice margin. Like, he was getting absolutely crushed before. Now he has the Poor Man's Shield, he has the boots and the bracer. He's not doing too terribly considering his start.
Yeah, on the other hand, if you look at the Juggernaut, for example, usually if you're like a safe lane Juggernaut, you have a crap ton of farmers mid lane. MP wants to go in, but the Remnant out chasing. Is he gonna be fine? Maledicted up, Paralyzing Cast, got the bounce back to him, but oh, Blink, Sonic Wave, Scream of Pain as well. Keen will go down as the secondary one, and Ember Spirits will not even die to the Maledict, I think, so... Queen of Pain coming in at the right time, suddenly hitting level 10 before it's even 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, the Ember Spirit was able to use Sleight of Fist to dodge the cask, and that's one of the weaknesses of Witch Doctor and Vengeful Spirit, I suppose. Their stuns are very dodgeable, and in the hands of the right player, Justin Ember Spirit is just the hero that you want to have dodging stuff. It's very easy to get that done as far as on Ember Spirit compared to some other heroes. He's going to go strong to 4Ev now. Double damage still active. It's going to run out, but man, it did its work. 4Ev is going to have to back off and drop that healing ward. If there was anyone else there for Ice, this Vengeful Spirit perhaps, that would have been a very clean kill, but still 5-3, and Ice, they're doing pretty well in this game, especially JJT. He has one part of his Orchid completed, and as we said previously, Orchid really good versus Juggernaut. It's really good versus Templar Assassin as well.
Yeah, GGT, he even almost managed to get just a solo kill on Beastmaster. Or well, it wasn't even that close, but did force the Beastmaster to immediately start TPing out, so... It sometimes is even worth a little bit more when you can force your enemy all the way back to base, because then their TPs on cooldown, they have to run all the way back to the lane. Just wasting a lot of time for them. 4Ev though has gone into the jungle, doesn't have a Morbid Mask, so it's not as easy for him to really jungle up. Yes, it's gonna have the healing ward, but that's just excess mana you're gonna have to use as well. So, Juggernaut, 11 minutes in, we still haven't seen an Omni Slash, for example. It's just something that you would like to keep on cooldown if you can, because it's such an easy way to really guarantee kills for your team.
Yeah, that's true, but really, who are you going to be Omni-Slashing on the Team Ice side? Obviously, the supports, that's pretty clear. That's probably the easy answer. You're probably not going to want to Omni-Slash an Ember Spirit. He'll have his Fire Remnant, he'll have Sleight of Fist, tools to get out of there and or just bypass all of that. Viper's way too tanky, and over towards mid lane. B-Boy's going to hit with the Roar. That's actually really good for Ice, just because they had the Ember Spirit there just a little while ago, and everyone was there for MVP. It's better to Ice take the bullet on their Vengeful Spirit than anyone else, but Queen of Pain, you also can't Omni-Slash because she'll just straight blink out of there. It's a difficult situation for 4Ev to be in, and yeah, this Omni-Slash is most likely not going to get a huge amount of value unless it's set up by a stun like the Roar, but I think that's also one of the first Roars that we've seen in the game.
I think it was, yeah, so... I don't think we've seen a Laguna Blade yet, and we haven't seen an Omni Slash, but they are still off cooldown. Of course, Laguna Blade kind of a low cooldown anyway, 70 seconds there. But GGT all the while doesn't really care that much about what's going on elsewhere. Also knowing that the Primal Roar is in cooldown for a little bit longer. Queen of Pain, does he go to go for it? Scream of Pain doesn't hit, so with that suddenly it's so much harder to actually go and secure the kill. Had it landed though, just pop the Sonic Wave after that, might have been an easy kill.
Alright, 5-4, Queen of Pain still threatening, however, on this bottom lane. This time there's Lina there, but you know, Lina has to be a little bit closer than that, and I don't even think if she was closer that she would have reacted in time. It's a pretty easy kill, I would say. Like, it doesn't get much easier than that.
Wow. It's so sad to watch whoever gets blown up, because the one who gets blown up like that, must be kind of frustrated, or it's like, yeah, there's literally nothing you can do about it. Nobody's reactions can be fast enough. Maybe if you have a defensive remnant behind, you can just go away before the Sonic Wave comes and connects. but the chances are slim, and on MVP, nobody can really do it. Maybe 10 processing can activate Reflection and survive it, but still, another nice kill coming out for the Queen of Pain. Suddenly has enough gold for the second Oblivion Staff, so the Orchid should be coming out by about the 15-minute mark.
And if you're in that situation where you are just sitting there frustrated, it's probably because of either your draft or how you decided to play the early game. I don't really think that you could outdraft that Queen of Pain in the safe lane. There aren't many offlane heroes that could do that for MVP that were still available. And they couldn't really apply pressure to her either. The Witch Doctor and the Lina had their hands full, really full, up on the top lane. So the Beastmaster just is going to be at the mercy of Queen of Pain for this entirety of the game, and there's nothing that he can do except for try to bulk up. But as he does bulk up, I think Queen of Pain is going to get more damage faster, so Beastmaster is probably not going to be living for very long. At least for MVP, it's the Beastmaster to die and not this Juggernaut. They really need the Juggernaut and the Templar Assassin to stay alive for as long as they can. They haven't really been doing a great job at that, but who knows, maybe they'll pick things up in a little bit. But they'll have to withstand the smoke gank first. Got a big smoke train. It's going to be wrapping around towards mid, where there are two very soft heroes here. Sunbi, no, not again. Please, Beastmaster, get out of there. I beg you. Heen, also, don't go in that area. He's going to blow the smoke, but that just means he's going to die without the ability to do anything in return. Sunbi gets to live, though. Beastmaster still has that roar.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar to when they roared up the Vengeful Spirit. Just the support Witch Doctor dying there definitely helped a lot better than Sunbi actually getting it. Then again, Ice, it's not like they used any big ultimates. They still have all of them available. They get an easy tier 1. They can easily rotate now to just bottom tier 1 and do kind of the same. Especially that JJT is gonna have enough gold for his Orchids. So if they want to go as 5, they can easily do so. Sonic Wave of cooldown. They have the Global Silence. Like, really, what's to stop them if MVP come? MVP, they don't even have a Death Ward, and then Processing, yes, he has a Blink, but it's nice to initiate. If you get caught, though, it probably won't help you escape. Although, yes, Refraction does help Blink Dagger these days once again, but even so, it's gonna be hard.
MP gonna get a jump on JJT with the Laguna Blade. They'll blow up the Queen of Pain. MP was sitting in the middle of the lane melded. You don't expect that as anyone ever, so really sneaky kill set up there by the Templar Assassin and the Lina. It's going to shut down the Queen of Pain, and that will deny her her Orchid. If she had a little more time, she would have had that one up towards top lane. Forev going to try to drive away Justin. All of a sudden, he disappeared, and where is he? He's now down towards the bottom lane, but I was about to say that Ice, they did also have a mech completed on this Viper, who has been not really a huge factor in this game. He's mostly just been a background hero, but this mechanism, like even if they don't actually use it, is going to let Ice push, and MVP, they're going to really struggle to take fights because of it, because they don't have a mechanism of their own, and even if they did, they would need like an additional item in order to counteract the early power of Ice.
It's, well, I was just talking about the Blink Dagger as well before, and that small blink, just length that the Processing meant for, it definitely helped them secure the kill before the Queen of Pain blinks out. So Blink definitely nice aggressively, even goes for a Mithril Hammer now. Is it gonna be a BKB, or is the Processing really gonna go all out and just get the Desolator as the first big item?
I mean, BKB is a necessity up against the Global Silence if you're not going to be going for a Manta style up towards top or something. Ember Spirit's going to get a kill, and Beastmaster's going to deny a tower with his boar. Angsui, though, wants blood in return. Jerax is there, but Global Silence is going to cancel out that LSA. B-Boy looking for a swap. He will get it onto the Lina, but all of a sudden B-Boy's in a terrible position, and he'll very quickly be brought down. Jerax will die in the end. Onslash now to Angsui mech. A little bit too late to really save him from that physical, and he will be going down as well. Clay is also going to die. Ember Spirit going to arrive. 1v3. How manly is he? Probably not manly enough, although with a Sonic Wave, that will sure as hell help. Forev dropping pretty low, but he will get out of there. Orchid not quite going to do it. MP still standing strong. He's going to blink after the Queen of Pain, but gets the angle slightly wrong. JJT waiting for his cooldowns. Justin does clean up the Juggernaut in the end. JJT still just dancing with MP right now, and I think this Queen of Pain, if she plays her cards right, might actually walk away from here with her kill, but she'll just have to blink away for now. MP hot on her trail. One more right click. That'll kill off the Queen of Pain. That was a very long right click as well. 2-point side blades. MP, though, he's stuck and he's dusted. It's going to be the final casualty of this fight. Final kill tally, I have no idea, but it looks like that might have been a 5 for 4.
Yep, sure looks like it at the moment. Ember Spirit the only one not to die. Queen of Pain, of course, blinking into the trees maybe not as great, knowing that the enemy also has the Blink Dagger, but you would think that a, like, what, 13, 14 second cooldown. Ah, my camera goes crazy. Never mind, it's fine. But you would think that the Queen of Pain can definitely outblink a Temper Assassin. But Temper Assassin really well played, just getting the right angles, getting the psionic traps going as well. But Justin, with an Invis rune now, getting closer to his Battle Fury at the same time. It's still Ice farming a hell of a lot better, Clement. His Global Silence will also be off cooldown in about 33 seconds. And that fight in general was kind of sloppy from Ice, but they still managed to win it.
Justin gonna get hit with a Roar Laguna Blade, very easily brought down as he walks into a Sentry Ward with an Invis rune. You don't really expect that to happen, so kind of shit happens for the Ember Spirit. I was just about to say that the fact that Ember Spirit was the one to live through all of that, and not only just live, but he also cleaned up many of those kills, is huge for Ice. Ember Spirit has had a rough early stage, but he has since recovered and then some. They're going to jump towards Sunbi over in the mid lane. Forev is going to threaten with the Omni Slash. However, he doesn't quite have it on cooldown. He'll get swapped back, get a lot of damage dealt to him. Omni Slash is there. Panic Dust by B-Boy just to make sure he gets it out before he dies, but he won't even die. Right now, Sunbi is going to be the first one to drop. Now they're going to chase after Forev. Viper Strike, Poison Damage, Glaive. That's going to be lethal with the Poison attack. Angsui's going to draw a double. Cast coming in a little bit too late there. And actually, Clement wants a little bit more. I don't think that damage is enough to kill off Heen, although it's going to be very, very high. They need like an Ember Spirit to jump in there, who's currently dead. Either way, it's still Ice to take a pretty solid victory over in the mid lane. And that Juggernaut's Omni Slash, it didn't really do that much. It's up against 3 heroes. There's no guarantee that Omni Slash is going to get any kills anytime soon.
It did get as close as it possibly could have, because JJT dropped down to, I think, less than 100 HP on the Queen of Pain there. But in the end, it doesn't really matter if you can't secure the kill, because Omni Slash ended, Queen of Pain was on the high ground, Juggernaut so far away from that position. And Juggernaut doesn't really have the blink that the Temper Assassin does to follow up. Gonna go for the Manta style instead, which isn't even gonna be all that fast. It's not like he's super far behind, it's only 1k net worth difference between him and the highest. But even so, you would like to have your Juggernaut just get way more farm, or at least have it offlaner more farm, because Ice, their all 3 cores are more or less on the same exact level of farm.
Yeah, having a score of 333 is not necessarily bad as a Juggernaut player, or as any player really, but it's not really a good enough score for the type of game situation that MVP have found themselves in right now. They need a much more farmed hero, any hero really, if they're going to be taking these fights better. MP is going to go for that Desolator actually. Templar Assassin going to man up and just look to take these fights. And well, if the focus fire on Ice is on point, this Desolator may or may not go punished. But something that also Ice just realized is that there's a pretty sizable stack of Ancients right now, and that can very easily be cleared once Ember Spirit grabs a second sword. Speaking of, Ember Spirit and B-Boy wrapping around. Very, very bold from them. Here comes the jump in. Templar Assassin can do a lot of damage to Justin, but not quite enough to actually force him to do anything. Still has that Remnant jump out. Sunbi has that Roar, is packing. He will dodge the Roar, however, Global Silence is there, and it's going to be Sunbi to get Global Silence and Sonic Wave. They really wanted that Beastmaster down, but they don't get it. He's going to buy back. Now Omni Slash only onto the Viper, however. He will get swapped out, however, he still will be going down. Roar being committed and wasted, however. Vengeful Spirit going to drop as well as they focus down Silencer now. He's going to be run down very easily, and JJT going to wish that he has a Sonic Wave right about now, but using on the Beastmaster, that buyback so worth it. JJT is also going to die. It's once again only Justin to survive as MVP. They lay out Sunbi more or less as bait, and Ice way overcommit on that Beastmaster.
Yeah, I mean, not only the Beastmaster, they even started it weirdly because they went way too deep, in my opinion at least. There was no need for them to go that far behind them, and that was just Ember Spirit popping the Flame Guard and not getting really almost any value out of that one. And MVP, after that, really nice angle as well, and just using their single target ultimates perfectly. It is a bigger burst if you use, let's say, a Laguna Blade compared to the Sonic Wave. Sonic Wave, of course, can hit multiple targets, which makes it better, but this time around, only used it on the one target. The others were there with the healing ward, just getting them back to full health, and also taking perfect advantage of those kills with the Desolator finished and having a TA. Such an easy Roshan after that.
They got minus 15 armor on the Roshan. I don't think they have anything else, no medallion or anything like that just yet, but they kill off the Roshan, and maybe even more importantly, they kill off this Ancient stack, which the Beastmaster has been working very diligently to stack up for the Templar Assassin. She actually does get that gold. If Ice were able to steal that, that would be not like instantly game losing, but close to it, just because Ember Spirit would be so much more farmed, and he could just clear out that Ancient stack in a couple sleights of fists, a couple right clicks. With backup behind him, no way he gets punished, and that would have been disastrous for MVP. But instead, they still have their hopes in this game, and it's all in the form of Templar Assassin. Now going for the Asha. Again, having a tool versus Global Silence, match style, is going to be a godsend for her, but again, she's only one hero. Can one hero really outcarry the other three really farmed heroes of Ice? Because that's really hard to do as anyone, and Templar Assassin is no Medusa. If it was a Medusa with this farm leading the way, or a Spectre, maybe MVP would have a much better chance, but Templar Assassin, I don't know if she could do it.
Well, probably if you look at it this stage of the game, Temper Assassin is probably scarier than Medusa with the exact same amount of net worth and the item choices is gone for. Late game though, if it gets any later, it's definitely so as Forever. Might get caught, but gets the Blade Fury before anything else. Still gets swapped. They need the Orchid before the Omni Slash. Global Silence comes out just to ensure it. Blink forward, Scream of Pain. They should get the Killer Candy. Nope, Yule Scepter's up for him. He's gonna get his Omni Slash JJT. He's gonna get screwed over. As are the, well, one extra core plus support. That went as bad as it possibly could have. No, never mind. B-Boy, he's also gonna die.
Ice getting into fights where they just can't use their mobility. They were in a pretty bad position chasing after someone who's magic immune and who also has pretty sufficient backup. Jerax there with that Yule Scepter, an absolute lifesaver, literally a lifesaver, as the Queen of Pain was winding up the Sonic Wave, but mid-animation got thrown up into the air. Yule Scepter comes out extremely quickly and faster than the Sonic Wave, to say the least, so MVP take a fantastic fight. Global Silence was used there. Sonic Wave was held just because Queen of Pain didn't have a chance to do it, but MVP, they're striking back real hard and they're surviving with a lot of their heroes. Suddenly the Juggernaut is going to almost overtake the Viper in net worth, and I mean, he will have that advantage very shortly. And then Juggernaut and TA will be on top, and that's exactly where MVP need these two heroes to be if they're going to take this game. If they could keep getting initiations like that, if they keep taking fights like that with the Death Ward, with the Roar, then man, it's going to be pretty easy for them to finish up this game. Ice need their BKBs now.
Yeah, and roaring should be pretty easy now that Beastmaster does have the Blink Dagger. Meta style done on the Juggernaut as well. I have no idea how Ice managed to fail like that. It might have been just Viper being a little bit too slow in catching up, because Viper's movement speed is horrendous, man. 335 movement speed with finished up boots. A crawl. That's a crawl more or less. Needs like a Yasha or something to help out. Does have an Aghanims though, but just Viper in general in this game hasn't had a lasting impact for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of been an engine hero. Like, you use your Viper just to push lanes and lay him out in the front line just so that the enemies can focus him down. And MVP have been doing just that. They've been killing him off very, very quickly, mech, Aghanims, or not. Viper's really dominance comes in through the early stages of the game, where he has kind of shut down the Juggernaut as far as his farm is concerned in the very early stages. But since then, he hasn't really done anything for his team. At least it's not as flashy as the Queen of Pain Ember Spirit. Maybe it's just because he has to go on the front line, and the front line of MVP, or front line of Ice, is being crushed really quickly. But yeah, Viper not really doing that much, and it even feels like their Silencer is not doing too much with his ultimate. Like, MVP don't have any, though they have the Manta style now, so they have a tool to get rid of that Global Silence. They have a Yule Scepter for the Lina to get rid of it, but the Global Silence just hasn't really been used in a perfect spot. It hasn't really been used when MVP are fully committed. It's been used for Ice to get single pickoffs, and it's nice to do that for a little while in the game, but at a certain point you need it for those big fights.
Yeah, then I think they would definitely prefer to just have any kind of stunning support rather than the Silencer, to be honest, because yes, they have the Global Silence, but the Juggernaut, he just kept on running away. He's so damn speedy. And that Meta style now finished even faster. There's going to be a Meta style soon enough on the Temper Assassin, about 400 gold missing from that one. And suddenly, not only is the Temper Assassin farm Juggernaut also being in the number 2 position, so the solo core Temper Assassin may not have enough just to kind of fight the entirety of Ice, but with the Juggernaut helping out, it definitely may be so all of a sudden. Also, just a single target lockdown of the Primal Roar, it may mean that in any fight, Ember Spirit or Queen of Pain will just get bursted down from the start. And if that's the case, suddenly Ice not looking all that hot damage wise. I mean, Ember Spirit still needs a hell of a lot of items to really be threatening. So far, only Battle Fury drums and just those face boots.
Man, sick puns. I don't know if you were intending any of that.
No.
No?
No.
Ice looking hot against MVP.HOT6. That was smooth, dude. That was played it off very well, and I had to call you out, but yeah, right now, Ice, these fights so far have been dominated by MVP. They can easily swing the other way as long as Ice actually get proper focus off. And by proper focus, I mean not the Beastmaster. It's nice taking the Roar out of the equation, but now that he has his Blink, he's going to be in the back lines. That means Juggernaut, Templar Assassin more likely to be in the front. and Ice still have enough burst power to kill off these heroes. And if they drop Templar Assassin, if she loses her Aegis, then that fight is over for MVP. I don't really see a way for them to recover from that unless they have like a nuts death ward going around in the background. So they just have to take proper focus, I think, for Ice, and that's so far been their problem. They've been focusing very well on the wrong heroes.
It's gonna get, well, it's been harder also from, I don't know in what time onwards. I really thought the Queen of Pain getting that early Orchid is gonna allow them to just take so many kills, like a ridiculous amount of those. But the Orchid really hasn't had too much effect at all. More or much like that Global Silence. So we'll see if that Orchid will continue to be kind of useless, because the later the game goes, that item just definitely does fall off. It still gives you some nice attack speed, some attack damage as well for the Queen of Pain, but that's usually not what you get the item for.
It's mostly just been used to kill off the Beastmaster, and that's fine, but that is, yeah, you don't really want to be focusing the Beastmaster that much anymore in this game. Hell, even like the Lina, I think, is probably a little bit more attractive target to Orchid up. Yeah, she can Yules herself, but if she does Yules herself, then that means she's not going to set up an LSA on someone else on your own team, so you usually take even trades there. Still, we're going to get a resume back into this game. Ember Spirit still has a Battle Fury. You got to remember how fast an Ember Spirit can farm with that item, assuming he actually gets a little bit of extra time and space. If the Juggernaut gets his Omni Slash up and if Beastmaster joins him with a Roar, that's a pretty easy kill on anyone.
Yeah, and MVP already pushing a tier 2 as well. With the Desolator, the pushing is just so much faster. TA, he's hitting for just above 200 damage. Definitely no slouch there, and that's even without the refraction charges nor the meld, of course. So on heroes, the damage is gonna be almost doubled up. But they are getting the tier 2 down. Do they keep on going with the Aegis, or would that be a little bit too risky from them?
I think they could go a little bit more. They have the Hawk, so they could get a little bit of extra vision in the Ice base, and they'll be able to retreat once they see Ice are actually coming back. But they're just going to play it a little bit safer, and I think that's fine as well. They have to worry about their top lane. Forev will clean that one up, but they still do have this Aegis MVP. Taking down one tier 2 tower is nice, but man, you just got to step up the pressure as much as you can whenever you do have that item, since you're unlikely to lose a fight when you have a Templar Assassin with double damage and now a fresh Manta style. So Global Silence, Orchid, not going to do jack versus this TA, and you can't use those things twice yet. So if you bring out a TA once within the duration of the other, she saves her Manta style, you won't be able to do it again. So I think tier 2 mid lane should be a target right now for MVP. Right now, they're not really going for that, though. They're just happy to farm things up and maybe try to take this late game with a super stacked Juggernaut TA.
Well, that should be easy for them, in all fairness. Now, though, Sunbi gets himself the medallion. That's just gonna be so much pain. Too much pain. Ice, they really need more items to try to deal with what MVP has, but especially the supports, they're just not getting anything at all. B-Boy, 0, 5, and 7, sitting only about 2.1k net worth. Silencer, not doing that much better, 2.8k. Usually, at least you try to get like a Midas on a support Silencer, but if it's nearing the 30-minute mark and you're not anywhere close to it, it probably won't help you by the end of the game at all, almost even. So this Silencer, yes, may have that single global silence, but don't see really anything else from that Silencer coming out.
And compare that to the Lina, she has 8,000 in net worth, and that's a very large amount of gold above all the rest of the supports. Even the Beastmaster has less than this Lina. Eul Scepter is up on her. She has something flying out, not quite a completed item just yet, but Aghanim Scepter incoming for Jerax. That's a hell of a lot of damage, and just threat in general from this Lina. So Ice have another hero they have to work with. For all intents and purposes, the core Beastmaster has been swapped out with a core Lina, and for 28 minutes in the game, that's actually pretty sweet for MVP, especially they get the kill on Justin. He's going to use Sleight of Fist, then jump back down the bottom lane, so he won't die just now, but man, if that Roar connected, dead Ember Spirit. Very easily dead Ember Spirit.
And Sleight of Fist is just such a good way to buy extra time there, because I think Sunbi blinked in almost at the same time that Sleight of Fist came out, so it just gave extra reaction time for the Ember Spirit to immediately activate the Remnant once the Sleight of Fist ends. But still, forcing him to just play it a little bit more passively. Looking at the vision though, it is mostly passive from MVP in all fairness. They could go a little bit more aggressive with the vision that they have, but they've also opted to just ward out their own jungle, maybe expecting Ice to just aggressively jungle, and they may find Queen of Pain with this.
That would be quite the pickup now for MVP. I'm just looking at some more of their items. I don't really know if I like this 4-staff pickup from the Witch Doctor. it's very good up against Ice's heroes, but clearly MVP, they're making no aggressive plays. They're stacking up Ancients. They're clearing out their jungle camps. They're just pushing out the waves and then retreating. If you're going to be going for this type of strategy, that means you're going to go for late game. And if you're going to go for late game, Witch Doctor would love to have a Hand of Midas or an Aghanim Scepter or something like that. Force Staff right now, that's not really the item you want. Over towards mid though, Sunbi going to try to go for Aurora on the Ember. Once again, the Ember will just disappear. Sunbi will instead sell for Aurora on B-Boy. Mostly because he wanted to get that out, but it's not going to do anything. In fact, now it's just down for another minute.
Yeah, that was really awkward. He was like, I want to go for it, I get stunned. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna throw it out anyway. Maybe thought that he might get swapped into a bad position otherwise. But Aghanim stunned on Jerax now. There is a smoke on Ice though. It may or may not work out because they're getting pincered as well.
They're gonna jump in. Jerax will save himself, but the Witch Doctor not as lucky. Global Silence is gonna drop. Jerax is gonna die. It's nice for Ice to do that, but let's look at what was actually expended there. They used the 10-second BKB charge of the Queen of Pain. They used the Global Silence. For 2 supports, I don't really know if that's worth it right now for Ice. They need to be holding those skills for heroes that actually have a larger impact. They'll get a push off, and maybe because MVP are down their Lina, they will struggle to defend, but that's gonna be a narrow push, I think. MVP, if they actually do want to start a fight, they probably can't get away with it because they don't really have much to fear from Ice right now.
Well, the Sonic Wave is still gonna be there, as is the Viper Strike, which well, is there for almost always, just 12-second cooldown, but it's just MP on the temper assassin creeps skipping here. I think he's killed at least 1 wave, maybe even 2, but has to be sure not to get caught now. He's gonna catch Justin instead, another Remnant, 1 more attack though. Man, that physical damage is ridiculous. In the backlines, they will get another kill. Did they use? No Omniscience even needed, just a Primal Roar there. And we're gonna have MP going further, gets 1 support, probably gonna get another one as well. Does he have a Psionic Trap? He would, if he wouldn't be silenced.
Well, he's gonna go for B-Boy regardless. 1, 2, 3 hits is gonna grab MP a triple kill. You know, when I said the Templar Assassin, like a really large Templar Assassin can't really do it by herself, I wasn't really considering the fact that MP is a freaking baller and he's just gonna go in and kill everyone like that. Of course, that's kind of bad positioning from Ice's side to be picked off by Templar Assassin one at a time. If you're in those types of situations, you're kind of asking for it. But man, MVP, they just crushed through all of Ice. And Ice, I mean, they had a pretty nice advantage in the earlier stage of this game. 5,000-ish in gold, similar in experience. Suddenly, 32 minutes in, they get absolutely demolished. They take a nice gank, I guess, on the Lina and Witch Doctor, but that really didn't do jack, because now they're down almost 1.5 sets of Raxes. They'll try to go for this tier 3 with the Desolator minus armor with 4 F's damage. They'll take that one out. Jerax is now going to arrive as well. MVP, they're still pretty much at full fighting force, with the exception of something like an Aegis or anything like that, but they'll grab a Vlad and the Beastmaster. Another huge pickup. Justin looking for someone to chain down, but if he goes a little bit too far, MVP can very easily turn around and kill the Ember.
So at the moment, I think Ice also lacking a little bit of just proper lockdown. They don't have like a Blink Primal Roar that MVP does. Their best way is Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains, or just have Queen of Pain aggressively blink in. But if you blink in, even though it's a really low cooldown, only 6 seconds on that blink, with the amount of just physical damage that MVP has, that 6 seconds may be like 3 seconds too long even, or maybe even a little bit more so. And now another Aegis on Templar Assassin, 4.7k gold. She's almost, well, she can finish up the Daedalus, which is nice. Abyssal Blade done forever. The amount of farm, or at least by the amount that they lead Ice's heroes at the moment, it's just ridiculous. There has been no item progression at all on Ice for the past like 5, maybe even more minutes.
Yeah, there's been items picked up like BKB, there's an Ultimate Orb in the Ember Spirit, Viper has a Yasha, but MVP are actually getting relevant items, whereas Ice, they're just kind of building these intermediate build-up kind of items, and it's a necessary evil, but it's not really what you want to be doing. They're going to jump in, kill the Vengeful Spirit in 3 hits. Sonic Wave through 2, going to do quite a bit of damage, but now JJT is stuck, killed off in 2 hits, and MP still sitting right on top of Justin right now. Laguna Blade cutting right through that shield is going to get MVP their 4th kill. MP, though, going to lose his Aegis. The rest of MVP, they have backed off. Juggernaut, Beastmaster already dead as Justin jumps right to the back line. Heen will force tap himself out. Yule Scepter there to stall up that Ember Spirit as well. MP looking for another kill. That's a little bit bold because there's only 4 heroes to go up against. MP, is that a little bit too much for you? It seems like it might be. Chained to the floor and unable to move. You'll be worked down by all the ranged heroes of the Ice side. MVP going a little bit too deep Perhaps, again, focusing the Viper, but they do force out 1, 2, 3
Three.
buybacks for 3 deaths. Yeah, that was still a 3 for 4, and that is MVP's victory.
Yeah, it's definitely so. They didn't get an additional set of racks, but even then, one set of racks, tier 3 down, plus forcing those 3 buybacks. And not only that, it's buybacks on the core heroes, so next time around they die, they're gonna be down for so damn long, and MVP, unless they really lose another fight like this while getting those kills, they're gonna easily get another set of racks. The one good thing for Ice is though the top lane is moderately pushed, and there's still a tier 2 standing, so MVP getting supersized mega creeps is gonna be hard, but with their amount of firepower, they can just get the Ancient straight out as well.
Ian is going to run into a very dangerous gank train, and he will be brought down. Nice kill for Ice, I suppose, going to delay MVP's plans for a minute, but it's only a minute. They're going to need a little bit more time than that. They are now facing down a Shadow Blade Lina. Jesus, Jerax is insanely farmed for a support hero. He has more than the enemy Ember Spirit. I don't even know how that's a thing, since Ember Spirit also has a Battle Fury, but Jerax is finding all this gold somewhere.
It's really Ice, they're not focusing that much on farming. They've been trying to look for a couple of pickoffs, a little bit of farming as well. But every single fight they take, they do tend to lose. Even if the kills have been like semi-even for both sides. It's just MVP getting the more important ones. Yes, you lose a Witch Doctor, but who really cares? Probably the Witch Doctor himself, but Jerax running around with a Shadow Blade of all items as well, and well, might find the target, doesn't even need to use it. Just blink, Primal Roar, Laguna Blade, and that's a Global Silence completely wasted.
Why would... There was no one else there. Your Vengeful Spirit is expendable. She has 8 deaths, or had 7 deaths. The 8th isn't really going to matter that much. If you kill off the Vengeful Spirit like that for MVP, yeah, you're happy with the kill, but you're not going to really do anything off of it. If you take out the Vengeful Spirit and you also pretty much kill the Silencer there as well for another 100 seconds, that's a huge opening for MVP, and they were already on the warpath. They're just going to go right in. That's a giant green light for them. I don't want to say that that instantly just lost Ice the game, but man, you can't afford to be wasting your ultimates to try to save heroes that are irrelevant at this stage in the game.
That's what I was talking about as well. Sometimes Silencer works out wonders, but this is one of the games where Silencer has little to no impact. Of course, MVP, they just have the lineup that doesn't care as much about Global Silence as some others would, like you already pointed out in the draft as well. And now MP, just sitting in the front lines, has the healing ward behind him as well. They do have to be a little bit wary because they don't have a BKB to really ensure you just stay in the front lines, but Sunbi, doesn't get the Primal Roar.
Oh, he gets the roar onto Angsui. Is that the target you want to be going for? Swap out from B-Boy. He's going to keep the Viper alive. However, Laguna Blade goes away with Queen of Pain, and that'll get that kill very easily. Now Angsui's going to die. Now B-Boy's going to die. Justin is stuck awkwardly in his base. Double damage on Ember Spirit, though, as completely ridiculous, out of control as that is. It's not going to do jack for him, especially when he gets hit with the LSA. He will dodge that by jumping to his Remnant, but yeah, Justin, congratulations, you get to live. The rest of your base, however, does not. MVP do have a tier 2 still standing on the top side, so they can't go for Megas. They'll have to go for GG, but with Queen of Pain and Viper having no buyback for a minute, there's little to nothing that this Ember Spirit can actually do to actually kill off any of these heroes, and MVP just won game 1.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising that DICE aren't just straight up calling GG, which, well, they are now because there's really nothing to be done anymore. Your Ancient is gonna die anyway, so if you don't call GG, you're just gonna look like, I don't know, bad manner maybe according to some, but really, MVP, they were struggling a little bit earlier on, but once they, I don't know, maybe cut their core levels, or I don't even know what the go point was for them, but suddenly they turned everything around, started taking fight after fight after fight, and just massive amounts of farm suddenly coming on the Temper Assassin and Juggernaut.
Yeah, so MVP, they're going to take it, and I think it was maybe just Ice not getting enough on the Queen of Pain. Like, she had that fast Orchid, she didn't do jack with it. Ember Spirit also seemingly an irrelevant hero in this game. It just seems like all the farm that Ice had wasn't really being used, whereas for MVP, they were using it more or less perfectly. Like, Juggernaut went nuts, Templar Assassin went nuts, even the Lina got so much value out of that Yule Scepter, so MVP using their gold that they got a little bit better, and they got a little bit more gold.
So this is gonna be it for game number 1. It is a best of 3 series, so I definitely have another chance to come back into this one. MVP, of course, want to close it out 2-0 as any team would. But we'll see how it's all gonna go down as we head towards the game number 2 lobby. So until then, guys, we're gonna be back in just a couple of minutes.